Hey everyone, it's Karina with Karina Loves to Plan. Welcome back to my channel. So I have two packages here. One you can see has a pen with a little ink sample, and then here are some ink samples sent to me by somebody over Instagram. Thank you so much. And then an ink sample that I got with my Teranishi Opera Rose. So I don't know why I haven't swatched them yet, but let's go ahead and do it now. Yes, it is another Esterbrook. I can't even hide that with the packaging. This one was off of Reddit. How many pens have I bought off Reddit? I think this is my second pen that I've ever purchased off Reddit. And this particular model is, I think, exclusive to the Esterbrook website. And I bought this because, one, it saved me a lot of money, but two, I just couldn't pass this up. So let's open that up. But actually first, before I do that, the person who sold this to me gave me this cute little card with a coffee on it, and then sent me a sample of Diatramentis oh my gosh, I cannot read. Heliogen green copper. I hope that gives you some idea as to what is in here. So let's open the box. I'm not going to do a very detailed review of this Esterbrook Estie because I've already done two, but here we go. So all Esterbrook pens that I have ever received have come in this clamshell box. It is fabric and then it is magnetized, so then you open it up. There we go. So this is, let's take that out. I'm so excited. The Rainforest model. I'm not sure when this came out, but look at all of those beautiful yellows and greens. And then this has the gold, I was going to say gold trimmings, but the gold accent. So you have the gold clip, which I don't really use the clip, but it's actually not too bad of a clip. And then you've got the Esterbrook there on the cap, and then the nib itself is a gold plated Jowo number 6 steel nib. Inside the cap you've got that cushion closure here, and then inside as well it comes with the converter. And what I love about Esterbrook Esties is that they just fit so nicely in my hand. Even if I rest my fingers where the threads are, it's not very sharp, it's not intrusive at all, and there is nothing along the pen section here that would be uncomfortable for this part of my hand where the pen rests, and it just rests so beautifully there. And I don't post my pens, but you can certainly try and post it, but it feels a little back heavy and it doesn't feel like it would post very securely. But I got this. Now this isn't normally my choice for a nib, but this is what was available, and I thought, well, I could either keep it or trade a nib with somebody or get it ground, or because I already have two other Esties and a few other Jowo number 6 nibs, I could change this out. So this is a broad nib, as you can see there. Oh, I love that. Isn't that beautiful? Like, just look at those colors. All right, so let's go ahead and ink this out. The ink that I'm going to use today is Pilot Iroshizuku Chiku Rin, and I think that would be a really great match for this pen. So I'm just going to repeat myself. So this is the, oh, that's so thick and juicy, Esterbrook Estie in Rainforest with a broad nib. Now the broad nib is going to be way too broad for me, but I'm going to be able to switch this out with another maybe extra fine nib that I have in my collection, or maybe get this ground down. I haven't decided yet. So this is inked. Actually, let's do this. You can see how wet that is, and great writer. So this is inked with Pilot, Iroshizuku, Chiku Rin, and it is absolutely gorgeous. Oh, I love that. Look at that. Like, look at how thick that line is. Such an amazing writer. I am so happy with this. I'm so glad I found this on Reddit because it just adds to my Estie collection, which is growing very nicely, I think. So I have my Nouveau Bleu, my Petrified Forest, and my Rainforest. I am so happy with these. Why do I have so many Esties? Why do I love them so much? Because they write well, they're beautiful, and they fit perfectly in my hand. I love writing with them because they are just so comfortable. And now I used to be the type of person where I was like, why do you need more than one color of a specific pen model? Well, once you find the pen that you really like in terms of its shape, its weight, the way it writes, you don't mind buying different colorways in it because you know that it is going to be a dependable writer. You know that you're going to like it. So that is me. Oh, I love these. All right, so let's go on to the ink samples. First ink sample I have is Teranishi Roman Innocent Mauve, and this was purchased from the St. Louis art store. So this first ink, I'm just placing a drop here on my Galen leather notebook. So I always use my Galen leather B6 notebook that has 52 GSM Tomoe River paper in it. And I'm swirling that drop around with the cover or the lid of the ink sample vial, and I love this purple. It's more of like a mauve. Part of me is like, well, duh, Karina, it's called Innocent Mauve. But I really do like the tones of this purple, and especially in the writing sample as well. I really like just the way that it looks. It's so pretty, and I want to say feminine, but still legible. And on my Kakimori brass nib, it actually flowed quite well. It didn't seem to pool or cling to the nib too much. I think this would work quite well in a fine nib, and I'm really excited to see that. And here I'm doing different width lines so you can kind of see what it would look like, you know, if you had a stub nib or a broad nib or a fine nib, and you can kind of see the difference in what the ink will look like. But I am a fan of this. It's unfortunate that I have such a tiny sample, but it is so pretty. The next ink is Diatramentis Heliogen Green Copper. And this green, or this ink sample, was given to me by the person who sold me my Esterbrook Estie Rainforest to try and match the pen. And the green is something I've never seen before in any of my collections, and it looks just different. That's all I can say. It doesn't look like anything that I have in my collection, and then it has that coppery shimmer, which I think is gorgeous. But this green to me, and I'm going to compare it to other greens that I have in my collection, this green looks like a lime highlighter green. I feel like that's the only way to explain it. I don't have really any other greens that look like this. Such an interesting color. The next three inks are from a subscriber who also sent me this cute little ink sample vial holder. Or as she says, it is a toothbrush holder, but it works so well. So this first one is Birmingham Pen Co. Pennsylvania Fieldstone. So this ink was sent to me because my subscriber messaged me and based on my preferences asked me if I had ever tried this ink, and I am so glad that she sent this to me. It's such a gorgeous color, and I love the it's not, well, is it a dusty pink? I don't know. It kind of looks like a dusty pink, and on camera it looks like a dusty purple rather than a dusty pink, but it is so pretty, and there's so much shading that is going on just even in that circle. But even when I do the different line widths, you can see the differences there, and then even in the pooling at the edges, it's such a gorgeous color. The next one is another Birmingham Pen Co. It is Terracotta. This one I think was sent to me because of my dusty pink preferences. You guys know I like my dusty pinks, and this one reminds me of a more muted Dominant Industry maple. And again, the way that this shades and the way that the ink pools is gorgeous. I think this would be really good even in an extra fine or a fine nib. It seems to come off my Kakimori brass nib quite well, so I wouldn't mind using it in some of my finer nibs, but just look how pretty. The last ink I am swatching today is Wearingeul Stonecutter's Song. This one immediately reminded me of Sailor Yurameku Kitsune Biori. Just look at after when I lift the, what's it called, ink sample vial and start writing with it. It is more of a brown. It's like a dusty brown. I use the word dusty all the time, but it's got this chromo shading quality to this brown. It's a lighter brown, and I don't normally like browns, but I really like this one because it almost has a mauvey undertone to it as well. I'm going to compare this to other inks shortly here. So there's all of the inks. I think they're absolutely beautiful. But now I'm going to show you guys what they look like compared to other inks that I have. First we have Teranishi Innocent Mauve, and this is on the Rhodia paper, and comparing it to the closest one that I could find actually was Amazing Amethyst, or actually, you know what, there's one more I want to check out. It's almost, I don't know, these are all the purples that I feel like could be very similar to it, like Hara Hara. It could almost be like a combination of Diamine Amazing Amethyst and Hara Hara, but that is what I can compare Teranishi Innocent Mauve to. Next is Birmingham Penco Pennsylvania Fieldstone, and the two that I found closest to it were, again, Sailor Shikiori Hara Hara, and I brought up Shikiori Yozakura because there's some notes that are similar to it, but I think the most similar is actually Hara Hara. But look at that, like the darker tones of it. There's more pink in this one, which is why I brought this up. But I feel like the tones are almost the same. This is more purple, but this is leaning more towards the pink. But look at that writing sample. It is absolutely beautiful in that writing sample. I cannot wait to use that. Next is Wearingeul Stonecutter Song, and the first ink that I thought of when I swatched this was Sailor Yurameku Kitsune Biori, and they look very similar. On camera it looks brown, but there's hints of pink in there, and I feel like, is there a little bit of like a sheening happening, or just the way that the ink pools? But those two look very similar. So I even brought up Colorverse Alpha Sagittarius, but those two, now that I compare them, don't look alike. It's these two that are almost a perfect match. Then we have Birmingham Penco Terracotta, and my first thought was maybe it looks like Dominant Industry Maple, but this is more pink. I think it actually looks a little bit like a mix of Dominant Industry Maple and Sailor Ink Studio 237. Like if you mix them, you would get Birmingham Penco Terracotta. I don't really have anything else that looks like that, but I really like that. I just found Herbon Roi d'Encre, and I thought they'd be a little bit more similar, but this is leaning more towards the orangey coral. Well, they're both orangey coral, but this has more like pink undertones, and this, oh, they're just, it's a dusty pink again. Another one of those. And then lastly, Diatramentus Heliogen Green Copper. I have nothing that looks like this, nothing. And so I wanted to compare it to other greens I have in my collection. The green in this almost looks like a highlighter green versus anything that I actually have in my collection. So look at the shimmer on that as well. Is that yeah, it's a copper shimmer because copper is in the name. I don't know if it's something I would use, but I mean, it's a small enough sample that I could probably incorporate it into 30 inks, 30 days one day. We'll see. So there is my latest, I guess, haul of new inks as well as my new pen. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Once again, I want to thank my ink benefactor. I really appreciate when you guys reach out to me because it just means the world to me when you want to share in this hobby. So thank you. I'm so grateful for the kindness in this community. Absolutely love it. And that is it for me. Thank you guys once again, and have yourselves a great day.